Hey, it's John and Mike, these brew dudes of brew-dudes.com, and we are continuing our Jar of Destiny series. This is Black IPA. Now, we have two beers here in front of us. We'll talk about why that is, but I wanted to ask first, Mike, what is your impressions of the style Black IPA?
For me, I've always assumed Black IPA to me meant, you know, a strong hop bitterness,
yes,
with plenty of hop aroma.
Yes.
To me, in my mind, it means West Coast style IPA.
Sure.
But black in color, I've always sort of read then that the darkness of it, there can be an acceptable amount of roast, but the real trick in the style is to have it not be like an American stout. That it's really a color thing and not a flavor thing.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Right, a little bit.
Right, right.
So that's my assumption about Black IPA.
Okay. Well, reading about it and learning more about it and thinking, and also seeing comments saying like, I really hope this isn't going to be just a West Coast IPA with some, you know, midnight wheat in it, which was kind of my plan.
That would have been acceptable to me.
So I said to myself, well, I've never taken the Kobayashi Maru test before. What do you think of my solution? I said to myself, we can do this beer number one, which is basically a West Coast IPA with some debittered black malts, or at least dark grains. And then the second one is kind of my new take on it and inspired by a new version of this style from a disciple of Greg Noonan. But we'll talk about that.
Which one should I taste first?
I think let's taste beer number one.
Okay.
So beer number one is actually based off of Greg Noonan's Black IPA, also known as the the West Coast, they wanted it to be the dark Cascadian Ale, which didn't take off. Didn't make the BJCP guidelines.
CDA, Cascadian Dark Ale.
That's right. What did I say?
Dark Cascadian Ale.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes.
They're going to start sending the hate mail. We just got to be ready.
That's all right. That's all right. So it didn't make the guidelines, just like New England IPA is no longer in the guidelines. It's a hazy IPA. In any case, this was based off of my recipe that I posted on our blog, brew-dudes.com, back in 2014.
Wow.
And I had brewed it, and I remember it was based off of some commercial brewery had done Greg Noonan's recipe to a T. I remember you and I drank it and thinking to myself, I didn't really like it. So that's why I said, what do we do in a no-win situation? We brew another beer, which we might actually like. Mm-hmm. Now,
so this is a pretty direct recreation of that old recipe that you had before.
Number one. Beer number one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Beer number two is based on El Jefe, which is from The Alchemist. So the brewer there, he brewed this sporadically. I think it was like pretty much, in the winter time of different years, and he brewed it mostly with Simcoe. And then there was a YouTube video where I saw him talking about it. And he was all excited. He was brewing with Mosaic this time around. So I said, "Damn it! Well, that's interesting because in the flavor where they talk about the aroma, they talk about different hop descriptors like tropical, citrusy, resinous, pine, berry, melon." I'm like, well, I know how to do that. Yep. So this is basically a hazy IPA with some, dark malts in it. So let's talk about recipes. I'm going to do what Mike did and not talk about the exact measurements, but just give some vague understanding of what I brewed with and when I brewed with. And we'll have all the details in the description below and on our blog later on, brew-dudes.com. So for the Black IPA number one, this again comes from the Brew Dudes recipe back from 2014. The only thing I changed was two things. One was the yeast strain, and also I just backed off the crystal malt. Mm-hmm. This is 86% of raw American two-row, some crisp crystal malt, 60 Love, that's at 7%, and then Brice Black Prinz malt. That's what it is.
Black Prinz.
So the hop additions are as followed: nugget for the full boil, and then a mixture of Centennial and Amarillo at 15 minutes and at flame out, and then in dry and hop. Very small amounts when compared to beer number 2.
It's a different world.
Yep. So in terms of water, I went with spring water. I had a addition of gypsum and chloride. Actually, went the other way with sulfate 2-to-1 to chloride, and then yeast was US 05. I think I had White Labs 001 in my recipe, but that's what I went with and said to myself, okay, that's what we got. Okay, so original gravity on that was 1064. Final was 1014. I don't have the ABV on that, but let's just say it's probably, it's probably in the 6s.
Yep.
Actually, that might be like 7%. That might actually be a 7%. Anyway, that's what I got. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Let me talk about this.
All right, let me talk about it. Let me drink it. Actually.
So when I first smelt it, I mean, there's definitely a citrus hop present to it. Wasn't super strong. There is a very clean malt aroma to it, but it's not roasty or toasty. That was one thing that hit me right away on the aroma.
This tastes just like that Greg Noonan beer, though. To me, my mental memory of it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, go on.
The bitterness is there. It's not strong. It's not as strong as I was expecting it to be. But I'm digging it because I like that. And then there is still some of that. I'm getting a little bit of Centennial, Amarillo, like a citrus hop flavor. And then as far as the malt flavor goes, I mean, there's a little bit of a toffee, a very subtle toffiness to it, which I think is your Crystal 60.
Yeah.
And the Black Prinz, if I was blindfolded, I would not be able to guess it was this color. I mean, so I guess from that standpoint, that's a win. I would not taste this, and there's no toast roast in the flavor.
No.
And that Black Prinz is really helping you out there.
Okay.
I like that. And it's a pretty clean fermentation.
Yep. I think that's, and I just remember that Greg Noonan beer, the roast, there's almost like a dryness in the aftertaste.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of the roast now way at the end, after I've swallowed and processed it. But I remember the Noonan version, that was like a tribute beer, right?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I remember that too. I remember it being a lot sharper bitterness too. And debating whether or not was it from roasted malt or from hops. So I think it was all hop derived.
Anyway, that's it.
I like this. It's way more drinkable than I was expecting it to be.
That's good. Okay. All right. Beer number 2. Of the Kobayashi Maru. How am I going to win this? This is, I called it the Black IPA. We'll start with the original gravity 1060, ended at 1012. Again, raw American 2-row. That's 84%. Then we have Vireman Carafa 3. We did that at 7%. Midnight Wheat at 4%. Caramel 40 low malt.
All right.
At 4%. And then a little bit of chocolate malt, because I'm just that kind of guy.
Hey, that's all right.
I think to myself, we're going to hop the crap out of this. Why don't we have a little bit? And I think that's why the head on this is a little darker than that one.
Yeah, I tried to get it on the camera. You keep talking. I'll foam them up here.
All right. In terms of hops, I just thought that I did, because of, tip of the old cap. We do have some Simcoe and Mosaic in here, but a lot of El Dorado, because I was trying to get an orangey thing going too.
Yep.
So along with some tropical stuff. So I'll just list it out. It's a mixture of El Dorado and El Dorado. It was a first wort hopping of El Dorado.
Love it.
And then everything else was either Whirlpool or dry hop. So Simcoe, Mosaic, El Dorado, and then we did some Mosaic and El Dorado in the dry hop. This was our tap water. I think I added. I was planning to add a little gypsum to it, but I just went for it straight up, just our filtered tap water. The yeast on this, and I think this will excite some people, because I was trying to brew 2 beers, And I didn't know he was going to get, or his family was going to get COVID. I did a 1 packet of the dry Lutra Kveik yeast so I could ferment this thing in a week, and I did.
Wow.
So yeah, so pretty impressive. The just so you know, hop amounts was like 84 grams in Black IPA number 1. Black any IPA number 2 was 392 grams. Yeah, so much different. So let's talk about that aroma. Like such a big difference between the beers.
This aroma, when I first stuck my nose into it, when you said Alchemist, this smells like an Alchemist beer.
Yeah.
I mean, right away, and it must be that interplay between like the El Dorado and the Simcoe, but it smells like something out of their brewery. I mean, it's like spot on. It's like the aroma is just so intriguing and so interesting. I will note that, again, I'm not getting a tremendous amount of like, there isn't like a stout character to it.
No.
I mean, there isn't like a dark malt nose to it. I mean, there's a little bit more of maybe a very subtle, very pale milk chocolate, and that's even just pushing it. There's a very subtle, very light wheat bread aroma. I don't want to oversell it. More so than what was in the first one, but it's buried underneath that beautiful hop bouquet that's in there too. And flavor-wise, it delivers the same. It has that. I've had a couple of those Alchemist dark black IPAs. I think I've even had El Jefe in the distant past. It brings back a lot of those memories. It works there. The flavor, malt flavor character-wise, it's a little more intense than the first one. Like I'm getting that interplay of the chocolate malt. There's I love midnight wheat, and so I'm used to that malt. So I'm able to pick that out because I like it so much, and that just that subtle amount of caramel 40. So backing down from the Lava Bond that was here a little bit has sort of mellowed that aspect of it out a little bit. Is in that Wireman, the Carafa, that's just plain Carafa, it's not Carafa Special?
No, Carafa, yeah, it's
Carafa Special is the dehusked stuff.
Yeah, oh sorry, this is the deep, yeah.
Okay, so that's,
yeah.
so that's great, because there's a real lack of character from that super dark malt as far as that goes. It's pretty neutral.
And based on my research into El Jefe, that was the dark malt that he used because he was like excited about that.
And then throwing the Lutra in there, oh my gosh, like I never thought I would really jive with the Kveik yeast strains, but this works.
I'm excited.
This really works.
Yeah.
This beer is something special. This is good. I find this very drinkable. You could just add an extra ounce of something at 60 minutes to give it the bitterness.
Yeah.
But this, as a black New England IPA, gosh, we shouldn't even say that out loud, is like really pretty special.
Right on.
This recipe is really pretty special. So that's kind of the cool thing with the Jar Destiny is you brewed this one and you tasted it and said, I'm going to try to jam something else out. You had said you did this one and you had this one in your plan anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
Like beer number 1 was like, I'm going to brew this and I'm not going to be happy.
Yep.
And
so you knew already that that's what you're going to do.
Yes,
Okay.
I knew that. It's
awesome.
like I said, Mike, it's a no-win situation. Okay, I don't like this beer, but I thought to myself, okay. And there was, I will be honest, I read comments and I saw one. It was like, I hope this isn't going to be just one of that. Like I don't want you making like just Pilney the younger with like some wheat,
with some Cinnamar, and
right?
Just make it black.
Right. Well, I thought to myself, well, how can we do it differently?
You're like, you pull the Black IPA nickel and you're just pulling the ripcord, being like, fuck it, Cinnamar.
We're not doing that. So I said, well, we're gonna like figure out how we can do something a little bit different. The one wild card was like, I wanted something to balance some of those wild, I say wild, let me take that word back, the tropical flavors. I meant wild and kind of like, we're going beyond like, citrus and what I think is that woody kind of flavors that go along with
classic West Coast IPA.
American coast, American
resin,
exactly,
pine,
danky,
and grapefruit, pine and grapefruit.
exactly,
Yeah.
pine and grapefruit. What I wanted to do is have a little bit more background to play with, like some of these tropical fruit flavors that come from these newfangled hops. And so that's what we have here. That's why I threw in some chocolate malt to see if I play with it. And honestly, it's there. I can see it in the head, or the foam for sure. And then, like you said, I think it just plays well with everything else that's going on.
Yeah, this one is just so super complex and intriguing. I just can't stop like taking in the aroma and taking small tastes of it. It's just so much to tease apart here. It's just super enjoyable. I never would have thought that I would have gotten into this style, to be honest with you. Just not in a million years would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna love what he makes. But you know, even your 2014 version, this is pretty good, which speaks to maybe whatever we're talking 8 years later, just your skill as a brewer with that same recipe, process-wise. This has come together pretty nicely. It's not bad at all. This is just so dynamic. From the aroma to the taste of it, it's an Alchemist beer. I mean, it's great.
Well, these will go into competition. We'll see what happens.
All right,
we'll see what happens.
all right.
We'll see what happens. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you for commenting and leading me down the path of righteousness, because I probably would have just done what I had put together 8 years ago and said, yeah, this is what it is. But the other, well, maybe I should just wrap it up, because I was going to say like crystal malt and an IPA. Ooh, that's awful. But if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have comments, leave them below. Certainly we want to hear more about your thoughts about this style, and if you've had experience with brewing it, and is it coming back? This is one of those styles where I've read the articles, it was like, a big wave, and now that people are maybe getting tired of the hazy IPA thing, even though that's what I kind of made, maybe that people are going back to some of these styles that had large popularity maybe 10, 15 years ago. Is it coming back? I don't know. So subscribe to our channel, because we do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, these Brew Dudes from brew-dudes.com, brew on.
Cheers.